beautiful soul. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Emily, also known as Emily the Mystic, and here we are again for another incredible video in the Cosmic Connection series, another starseed group to introduce you to that I'm really excited for you to get to know today, because this is one that there isn't a lot of information out there on this group. However, they are so powerful. They're really powerful beings, and so if perhaps you are a starseed from this group, I really hope that this brings you some insights and awarenesses into yourself, who you are, and the mission and purpose that you came here to Earth to do. So, without further ado, let's get into it. As always, just some quick background information. I am an Akashic Records mentor and channeler, and so I have a list of all of these different starseed groups that I've been wanting to interview. So I go into the Akashic Records, I invite them forward, and I ask them some questions in order to get to know these groups better. So I really hope that you learn a lot from this video. So today we are going to be, and of course, side note, as with all channeling information, take what resonates with you and leave what doesn't. So I'm really excited for you to get to know this group today. They are the Polareans. There is not a lot of information, at least to my knowledge, about this starseed group out there. So I'm really excited to share what came through for me. So when I invited the Polareans forward, the first thing that I saw in my mind's eye was this burst of white light, sparkling white light. And then when their visual representation of them came into my mind's eye, I saw these beautiful galactic beings who didn't have any hair and who were, their features are sort of like if you were to think of a classic like alien-like face. However, they have more human-like dainty soft features and a beautiful sort of heart-shaped face, round head, and every inch of their skin sparkles. It is just this sparkling bright white. They really glow as if they are lit from within, which I think is so magnificent. And they're not wearing a lot of clothing, so they are more galactic in nature than some of the other starseed groups that I've interviewed so far in this series, who can't kind of come through looking more human-like. The Polareans are definitely very galactic. They're very cosmic. So if you identify with being a Polarean being, you may feel really resonate with being from, not being from this planet, being from somewhere else in the galaxy, because they have some tendencies that are similar to human beings, but they are really high vibrational beings. They work at a very high vibrational frequency, and they are masters of energy and working with energy healing, and they're masters of speaking telepathically as well. And so as a Polarean being, if you resonate with being a Polarean starseed, we're going to get into a lot of the characteristics in this video, but it may be very natural for you to speak telepathically, almost to the point where you may not even be aware that you're already doing this with your friends and family members, whether you have a moment where you read someone's mind and you just know what they're going to say, or you're texting someone at the exact same time that they're texting you back, or moments pass in your conversation and you're looking at the other person and you haven't said anything physically, but there's been a lot that's been said energetically. You're speaking telepathically, whether you're aware of it or not. And so we're going to get into some other characteristics of the Polarean starseeds, but that may help you to understand, especially if you're somebody who is not a super chatty Cathy, if you are kind of a man or a woman of few words, you may really identify with the Polareans because they speak so much in frequency and not so much in words, right? So very interesting, because the way the information's coming through for me, it's very claircognizant. It's not so much clairaudient. Some of these beings have come through sharing more clairaudient information, meaning that I hear it in my head. They're coming through like I feel the information more in my body, and I just kind of have a sense of knowingness of what they are sharing with me and what they're saying. So very interesting. And they are also masters of, I mentioned they're masters of energy healing and vibration and frequency. They're also masters of the animal realms, the crystal realms, the natural realms. So I know that's come through for some other starseed groups as well, but they really are masters of working, again, with different types of energy frequencies, different types of beings, and so on and so forth. And as soon as I invited them forward, they blew this beautiful, sparkling white, magical sparkle dust on me. I felt a sense of lift. I felt some lightness. And so I hope that they're wanting me to translate and share that with you. So we're going to send that through energetically. So we're going to send you some Polarean magical white sparkle dust now. Beautiful. Receive that. Open yourself up. Receive that. Okay, so they're going to continue to send you some energy activations throughout this video. However, a couple of other important things that they want you to note. So the first thing that's coming through is to share with you the zodiac sign that really defines the Polareans. And the zodiac sign that is coming through really strongly for the Polareans is... they're very Taurus in their energy because they are very grounded in a lot of ways. Yes, they are high vibrational beings, but they're also very grounded and very connected to these crystal, earth, animal, natural realms as well. And they are very connected to human beings, meaning Polarean starseeds are very connected to relationships. So the currency, I should say, for Polarean starseeds is relationship currency. So being in relationships with others is a big part of the work and the mission that the Polarean starseed is here to do. They are very good. They are masters at relationship, at holding friendships, at calling in new friendships, and at working with and being present with other people. Sorry, by the way, I channel a lot of this information live as well as my notes. So sometimes I'm receiving the energy frequency and then I have to translate it in human words. So bear with me for some of this. But for the Polarean starseeds, they're going to be very connected to family. They're going to be very connected to friendships. They're going to be very connected or desiring of a romantic partnership of some kind in this lifetime. So they are very good at working with people. The other interesting thing about the Polarean starseed is that they are very good at discerning light from dark. The Polarean starseed is an excellent judge of character and an excellent judge of integrity. They are very high integrity beings, by the way. And so they are excellent at being able to discern whether somebody's intentions are positive or negative. However, the Polarean starseed, because they are so loyal to relationships, they tend to struggle with people pleasing. So Polarean starseeds are very intuitive, and they are going to sense and feel in their body whether or not somebody has good intentions. But because they have this tendency to want to do the best for other people and to help other people as much as they can, which we'll get to that a little bit more, they may go against their natural instincts about somebody and go with what the other person's word and what they're telling them instead of leaning on their own natural instincts, especially if the other person whose intentions they are intuiting are not good intentions, and that person that is in relationship with somebody that's important to the Polarean starseed, they are naturally going to want to follow their friend's word over their own intuition and to go back on what they are naturally intuiting and perhaps get in a relationship with somebody who does not have their highest intentions at heart. So they will always stick with their friends and family members no matter what. And Polareans have trouble moving on to new relationships because they may end up getting kind of stuck in how their relationships always have been up until this point. Polareans really highly value the opinions of other people. So Polarean starseeds have a really hard time letting go of what other people think of them. They may have natural perfectionist tendencies, and Polarean starseeds have a hard time trusting themselves because they are easily influenced by the opinions of others. The other really interesting thing about Polarean starseeds is, in terms of their mission and purpose on this planet, Polarean starseeds are here to serve others. They're here to help others. They're natural helper souls. They naturally want to lend a helping hand, and they are overgiving in a lot of ways. They're always going to be the ones who are running the errands for their friends or family members, or who are helping somebody out with something that they need assistance with, and they have a really hard time listening to their own body and listening to when they need to stop, and listening to when their soul is telling them, okay, it's time to end this, cut this off, or take time for self-care. So Polareans are overgiving to a fault. And because they naturally, genuinely lean on other people a lot, they have a really hard time with, again, tuning into their own intuition and their own wisdom, because of they're very swayed by all of the noise of other people's opinions and beliefs that surround them. However, Polareans are so intuitive, and they really need to trust this gift more. If there's one thing I want you to take away from this that the Polarean guides are sharing with me, is that as a Polarean starseed, you already know so much. You already have all the answers within, and of course we all do, right? But for the Polarean starseed, it is harder for you to trust in your own inner wisdom than it may be for other starseed groups. So for you, it is crucial to filter out, let go of, clear away other people's opinions and beliefs, and to take time for yourself to discover, what are my own beliefs about life, about different things, and also, what are my own needs? Because the Polarean starseed has a really hard time with setting boundaries and saying no, and telling people in their life that they can't do something for them. They always want to do that. They always want to be giving to other people before they help themselves. However, they do this to the point of exhaustion and burnout sometimes, and have a really hard time, regulating their nervous system and staying healthy and staying true to themselves. The interesting thing about this dynamic is that the relationships, the people in the Polarean starseed's life are going to naturally lean on the Polarean starseed for guidance, for intuition, and to be an example, to lead by example of how to live a beautiful lifestyle. But the Polarean starseed doesn't naturally trust their intuition from within. They really have a hard time. Oh, interesting. Sorry, there's something new that's coming through. They really have a hard time trusting themselves. However, all the Polarean starseed needs to do is to look out to others to reflect back to them the qualities that they really admire, they really need to admire in themselves. Polareans the relationships for Polareans especially, and this is true for all of us, but especially for the Polarean starseed, relationships are a mirror. They are always going to reflect back to the Polarean starseed the traits in them that they admire, the things that they need to take a look at, the healing that they need to do. The parts of themselves that maybe trigger them, or that they don't want to take a look at, or they don't want to heal, are always being mirrored back to them in the form of relationships. So this is so true for the Polarean starseed. All they need to do is, and I was saying before, tune out other people's opinions and belief systems about what you should do. And on top of that, look to how others are reflecting back to you your beliefs about yourself. That's going to be so key and so crucial. So anywhere where you are judging somebody else for something that you don't like, or anywhere where you are admiring a quality, an external quality in somebody else, those are reflecting back to you the things that you need to take a look at. The judgments are the shadow pieces of yourself that you need to heal, and the qualities that you admire are the traits within yourself that you need to love more, and you need to recognize that you have them. The next thing about the Polarean starseed is that they have a hard time accepting help and support. So they would, like I said, rather help others than allow themselves to receive. They often fall victim to people pleasing. So they have a hard time saying no, and they have a hard time following their own boundaries. Now, the next interesting thing about the Polarean starseeds is that they are excellent space holders. So the Polarean starseed may not necessarily say a whole lot. Like I was saying at the beginning of this video, they may naturally communicate more telepathically, and they may not be super chatty with people. They may even have a dislike for small talk when getting to know new people. But the Polareans are excellent listeners, and they are a wonderful shoulder to cry on. So people really lean on them to hold space for them and to be that wonderful listening ear, and also to be a voice of wisdom, because the Polarean starseed may not physically say a lot or give a long explanation or long-winded advice, but their wisdom that they do say is profound, even if it comes out in a couple of short sentences or a couple of words. They're really good at cutting out the crap and sharing with you very distinctly, clearly, even shortly, what guidance you need to hear, even if they're not aware of that. So the Polarean starseed, they're going to be really great at sharing, let's say, short reels on Instagram or quick TikTok videos, and they may have a hard time recording long form content for YouTube or writing a long blog post, as an example. They're going to be very quick with their guidance. And like I said, they may not say a whole lot, but their wisdom is truly profound in the short amount that they do say. An interesting thing about Polarean starseeds as well is that they have a hard time getting to know their dark side. The Polarean starseed, they're a little bit of a perfectionist. They admire their positive qualities and traits within themselves very well, but they tend to hold resistance towards embracing their darker side. If you think about, a spectrum of the good girl versus the bad girl, or whatever gender you want to use, good versus bad, the Polareans like to stay in the good realm, and they have a hard time being the troublemaker, the rebel. They have an easier time staying in the good girl end of the spectrum. It's so much easier for them to stay here in the light end of life than to journey into their darker side and to get to know that shadow side. However, the shadow holds so much wisdom for them, and if they were to take a look at it, and again to take a look at things in their external reality and in their relationships that are mirroring back to them, their triggers, their judgments, their shadow material, the more the Polarean starseed is going to evolve, and the more they're going to really embrace that well of natural inner wisdom and get to know themselves better. So the Polarean starseed, their mission on this planet is, yes, to serve others, but it's also to come to a place of service to self, to be able to come to a place of knowing and understanding oneself and loving oneself for who they are, because they're naturally outwardly focused. Their journey is to get to know themselves and to really get to know all ends of their spectrum, both positive and negative, light and dark, to embrace their white light, but also to embrace the darker side of their shadow and to do healing of the heavier stuff. So their guidance for you, and by the way, I forgot to mention at the beginning of this video that the Polarean starseeds are from Polaris, which is the North Star. And like the North Star, the Polareans are truly a guiding light to others in their lives. They're truly that wisdom keeper, that helping hand, that shoulder to cry on, that space holder. And they naturally lead by example. However, the challenge for the Polarean starseed is to get to know themselves on a deeper level, to do the inner work, the shadow work, to learn to trust themselves and their intuition, and not to fall victim to other people's opinions or other people's projections or what other people are telling them that they should do. They cannot allow others to walk all over them. So if you are a Polarean starseed, this is your permission slip to set those boundaries. It's your permission slip to do the shadow work. It's your permission slip to say yes to yourself and your own needs, and to let go of all of the external noise that is telling you to do something that is not in alignment with you and who you are. You've got this. You're amazing. I believe in you, and you are such a light. So continue to shine your light. Continue to be you. The more you do that, the more you're going to feel in alignment with your life in general. I mean, that goes for all of us, right? But for you in particular, you have to use yourself, your intuition, as your own inner compass, your own North Star. And the more you do that, the more you lead by example. And perhaps the less people are going to bother you for things, because they are going to see you leading by example, and they are going to naturally follow your lead and perhaps implement, integrate some of the things that you do in your own life into theirs, so that you don't have to help them with it so directly. So anyway, I hope this helps. I absolutely loved this video and getting to know the Polareans. I hope you felt the energetic lifts and activations that were coming through the channel today. And if you resonate with being a Polarean starseed, I would love to hear from you. So leave that below. I don't think that I have met a Polarean starseed, to my knowledge, up until this point in my Akashic Records readings and in the clients that I have worked with. The Polareans are not a big, starseed group. There aren't a lot of you out there. So if you identify with this group, I would love to hear from you. So let me know below, and make sure you like this video and subscribe to my channel for more content like this. It is so fun to have such an engaged audience and community, and I am so grateful to all of you for being part of it. And I will see you in the next video for the next starseed group who wants to come through. Bye.